welcome back to our Monday night regular. Tonight we have my mom, Maribel, Season Dionisio, and Tita Aiza, who are both experts in their respective fields, specifically in relationships. So tonight we're going to talk about an issue that probably got postponed because of the lockdown. So a lot of weddings, a lot of marriages put on hold, a lot of cancellations. Because hey, we're still here in the modified DCQ. So today we're going to answer some questions that people fielded in earlier in the week, earlier last week, and so we'll get the ball rolling. No? So first, I guess we'll start with Mom. No, what are the most important things to consider before getting married?
Well, there are usually three things that we want to take note. One, do we have the same core values? So are we compatible? Do we see things? The more important, you have about 5 non-negotiables there. And then the second one is, are each one of you emotionally mature? You know, that you are flexible, you can adjust, because marriage will require a lot of that. And then thirdly, is it really true love? So those below 1 year, that's the romantic stage. That you're in the romantic stage, you need to go through the 3 stages of love to make sure that it is really true love. So 3 years boyfriend girlfriend is very crucial here to be able to increase the chances really of the success of the relationship.
3 years. How about you, Tita Aiza? What input do you guys have?
Me, to add to what Maribel said on the true love part, the authenticity of love, it's also checking our intentions or motivations for getting married. Because others, they just want to get married because, one, all their batchmates already got married. Number 2, it's a merger. So it's an investment. Oh, yung iba. Oh, let me check your bank account, and then when I marry you, it's conjugal. And then the others, biological clock is ticking, pressure, or the others, the worst is to escape an unhappy environment at home, thinking that entering a new marriage, a new family will make it better for them. So if those are your motivations for getting married, you won't last for so long. It's going to be a difficult and conflict-filled one.
This reminds me of a film that became very popular maybe 5 years ago, Eat, Pray, Love. What's the name of that girl who she got married for the wrong reason?
The Roberts.
There we go.
Of course. I watched that, and I have a book. Yeah. I watched the movie first, and I haven't finished the book.
So nice movie, but what she did is not the right thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't follow her footsteps.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another question. How involved should parents be in preparing for our wedding?
Aiza.
For the wedding, not for the marriage.
Let's do wedding first, and then let's do marriage.
Okay. For the wedding, well, it depends. Honestly, it depends on who's paying for the wedding. For those who don't know, I used to handle a lot of weddings when I was back in events management career. And I know that especially some cultures, the parents have a big say. But the more modern couples, they're more empowered, especially if they save for their own wedding. If they save for their own wedding, then most of the decision making is on the couple's end. But syempre, you reserve some slots for the guest list for the parents. So mostly what they did, or this is ganyan. I have 2 tables for you, this side of the parents of the groom, and then 2 tables for the parents of the bride. And then some parents, but I need to invite more. I have 50 more guests.
Oh my God.
Then it depends on the venue, and then some would offer to pay, and then it's a matter of negotiation. But as far as traditions, certain pamahiin when it comes to wedding, you can listen, you can take note of what your parents are gonna share, but maybe make it clear for both that the final decision will still be by the couple themselves.
You know what's a new style of some couples? Since they pay for it, they really get a small venue, so parents are limited. And what the parents do, they create their own wedding reception. About 2 weeks after, there is another wedding reception for their hundreds of friends. Well, that
Yes.
works as well. Because it's really the wedding of the couple. It's nice that they really decide on these things.
Especially if the child is an only child. What? You're our only son and you expect us not to invite all our amigas and all your 12 ninong and ninangs when you were baptized?
Oh no.
Maybe.
So it sounds like it's an issue of who owns the event.
Right.
Right.
No, but even if the parents will say, I will pay partially, the couple usually says, no, I don't need your money. You are my guest. I am the one in charge. So I mean, parents need to respect also these young couples. That's actually a good thing that these couples are able to do it.
Yes. So it's a gentle conversation. Of course, we don't want to start the marriage with the wrong footing with the in-laws. So it's a gentle conversation. Again, better if two sides are together, so they won't think you're singling out only her parents or his parents, but it's an agreement for both.
That's true. I'd like to take this time to say hello to some friends who tuned in. Dreen, alam ko magpapakasal ka na.
Tanong niya na yung question niya.
Hello, Autumn. Belated happy birthday. Oh, and Ria, hello. Oh, hanap ng
Yeah.
boyfriend yan.
Many of your friends are, yeah. Oh, Tito John is there listening maybe
hi,
for the
Tito John.
kids.
Oh, hey, Kevin. What's up?
Yeah. So maybe what's the next question there?
So again, we're talking about preparing for marriage. So the first question was how involved should the parents be in the wedding? The adjusted question is how involved should they be in the marriage?
In the marriage.
Yan.
Well,
Maribel.
the couple has to decide in what area his parents or her parents will be involved. That's why we normally say live on your own starting day one, so that you can be more in charge. We want you to be in charge really of your marriage. And if ever your parents are mere consultants after the marriage. So work on your financial readiness and also your emotional readiness. And of course, even that small, 30 square meter or not even 30, that's big already. Just a one bedroom first place will be good for the two of you. Privacy is very important.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious. So this one, it's a question about right before getting married. So question is, my boyfriend proposed to me and I said yes, but now I'm having doubts. How do I know if it's cold feet or if I made the wrong decision? Yeah. Tricky question.
So if that was me, postpone. Don't proceed with the wedding. Any kind of doubt, you don't know if it's if you don't know if it's cold feet or you don't know if really you're doubting the person you chose. So better postpone, continue dating, and validate where that feeling is coming from. Do some pros and cons and think. Yeah.
I was canceling our wedding twice. we were getting married in November. I remember canceling on a June 12th. That was your birthday. The next year, 2 years you were born. I was canceling twice. So you had to ask all your questions. So I asked Alan all my doubts and he answered it. And because we had that friendship, that's the other reason why it has to be 3 years, because we've known each other for 6 years then. And I know when I got the answers, he was truthful and it erased the doubts. So any doubt, stop first. And of course, attend the marriage preparation seminars. Actually, before sana, you answer any wedding proposal so that you know why you're saying yes. And so our marriage preparation programs, Aiza, that we give at the Love Institute are
Yes. We give
5 sessions. Yeah. We have about 5
Yes.
sessions of 3 hours each that we give. And since now we're on this ECQ, then we've been giving it online as well. And it works. be able to talk to the couple, even if
Yes.
they're in two different places. Just like FB
Of
Live, you
course.
can still communicate. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a good
Yes.
time. We spend a lot of time
So
these days
the
investing in marriage,
yeah,
which is
there's also the group. Sorry, there's also the group seminars of Discovery Weekend and
Yep.
Sepams Pre-K na.
Right. So there are other groups that give them marriage preparation, whether in a group setting, but which I think will be a problem now for most in a group setting. So look for people who will help you one on one. Yeah, as Raf said, we've spent time really studying for our career, but we don't really spend time for this other career of ours, which is marriage. And I mean,
Right.
5 hours of 3 hours each, people say, wow, that's too much. Well, if you want to be happy, you have to learn how to fight. You want to learn more about the finances and budgeting that you have to work on. It will reduce a lot of problems and make you a lot really happier, the kind of happiness that you're looking forward to.
Right. So it's really not just preparation, it's really discernment. Like pretty much it's a vocation. So like the priests and the nuns who are entering a life of religious life, they have a long formation and they have a discernment period. So similarly with marriage, it's still death to us part. It's a lifelong vocation. So we really recommend that we spend time preparing. Number one, learning the skills and practicing it. It's different to learn it here, and it's different to actually make your body, your tone, the way you talk, the way you fight. That's crucial that you practice it. And then the second part really is discernment. Am I meant for married life? And am I meant for this person I'm choosing?
Right. And people, they say, but my body clock, you get married at 32, at 40, can get married at any age. You want to get married the right person. Even if we have divorce here, you don't want to go that route. It is so messy and so painful. So you want to get it correct at the
In
first time.
fact,
So be deliberate. Yeah. Yes, Aiza?
and since you mentioned that the even if you're 45, if you're 50, you should still take time to prepare because it's harder to uh adjust when you're being used to being single for like 45 years, 50 years. Maybe you're more mature, but you're more set on your ways. So adjusting to having another person intimately in your life is a whole new ball game. So that really requires training and preparation.
But they say, Aiza, but we're old already and we are mature. So we will make sure we will love each other every day, even if they are 60 or 70 years old already, whether it's a first marriage or a second marriage.
And now,
Diba?
yeah,
Still need to really prepare.
yeah,
It's not,
I would say yes. Yeah.
yeah.
that's true.
Yes,
Oh, so we have a
and
private.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So we've got a privately sent in question. I've been engaged for 6 months now, but I found out that my fiance doesn't want children. Is this a deal breaker if I want children?
Yes, deal breaker. Because you want children and your fiance doesn't want children, you're going to fight about that. Or you might trick him.
Trick him? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Trick him to having kids or something. Or if he says, okay, pero ikaw bahala sa anak, that's going to be difficult still for the child and for you. Might as well, this is one of the areas we talk about in terms of expectations, that you need to have
So
a similar view, yeah, and value about.
yeah. So me, it's something you should dialogue about indeed. Kasi especially if it's a non-negotiable. Diba? We always talk about if you have qualifications in finding a partner, you have a list of qualifications, some of which are negotiable, some are non-negotiable. And having children or being a mother is being a good father is part of your qualifications, then in your non-negotiable, then deal breaker siya talaga. Pero kung talagang you love him enough that you're okay not to fulfill another dream of becoming a parent or a mom, then maybe in the short percentage that you can survive the marriage, pero you have to discern again.
Right. So no such thing as changing and saying, oh, sige, I will follow you. Then later on, you're going to change the course when you're married already. You know, some people do that. That's not fair. That's really going to cause a lot of trouble there.
That's true. By the way, I noticed we actually have people watching all the way from Malaysia. Hello, Aichin, and some people from Bohol as well, no?
Yep. There's another private question there.
Got your friends here. So,
yep.
Another question about preparing for marriage. No? So this one, I found out after I got married that my husband cheated on me while we were still dating.
Oh,
I'm deeply hurt by
course.
this, even if it's in the past. Is this something that we can still fix?
Yes, fix it fast and soon enough, because that will affect your trust towards your husband. And even if it was done beforehand, you were already in the picture. So that can really erode your relationship. Yes, Aiza?
Yeah. So there is a good news and bad news there. It was before the marriage. However, because you are already in a committed relationship, doesn't make it less hurtful. So the decision to forgive and the decision to work on the issues that pushed probably or that made him consider having another partner, the more you talk about that and the more open you both are, then the sooner or the higher the possibility of the marriage being fixed and being in healing. It's up to you. Some it takes shorter time, the others it takes a longer period of time.
Hey, Aiza, look who's watching.
Ooh.
Toto and Baby Malvar.
Hello, Tito Toto. Hello, Tita Baby.
They're about almost 50 years married, ba?
Hi, Tita. Hi, Tita.
Yes, long time with wonderful children to show for.
Yes, and also hello to Father Joanne Benaventura.
Hello, Father Joanne, all the way from Bataan.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a nice question here. What topics are covered in the marriage preparation that you guys were talking about a while ago? Is it 3 sessions or 5 sessions?
The 5 sessions of 3 hours each. Yeah. Basically, if you look at it, we have session 1. We look at
The eye.
what are your expectations, your dreams. So we have assessments, and then Aiza, what else do we have?
Then there's a big assessment also on the person of the person getting married. So looking at any possible unmet needs growing up that you might bring in the marriage. And then we're talking about the two of you. So from the self, we're going to the couple being together. So different issues you've had in the past, so issues that may have frustrated you, and then equipping you on how to communicate better and a lot of practice on that. And then a lot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
A lot on the family of origin also. How are you different, and what areas of their differences will be a source of conflict, and which ones are the sources of strength? And yes, you mentioned, Aiza, how to really dialogue. And because, we have to teach you how not only to dialogue, how to fight and how to negotiate. It is a core value here that takes a lot of time there. Then, of course, the other topics about finances, budgeting, role of husband and wife, and then the emotional needs of men and women. There's more, you remember, Aiza?
And more on visioning for the couple.
Finally,
what are you offering, or what are you focusing on your marriage when you're already one team?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we do the life plan, like a strategic planning of the next 15, 20 years, writing down really when will the children come? What are the other things you want about the home, the car, maybe a business, your career?
So, is this something that happens regularly, or people will schedule it with the Love Institute?
Well, for now, it is a number of them want them one couple at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we have a lot of us in the team, and but there are some recently who've said we can have two couples. We have two couples, and then we have a coach from the lab team meeting up with this couple online. We don't have a group. We want really to make it a little more personalized and tailored fit really to them, especially if it's via Zoom. But if it's the group sessions are allowed, we can do group sessions, but I think that will take some time.
So again, if you guys are looking to book a session on how to prepare for marriage, definitely a good investment. It'll take a couple of hours, but what's a couple of hours to the rest of your life?
To make you happy. And this is the book that we use as our guide, Thinking of Marriage, which this was my thesis in my master's. So that's my dear sweetie pie there, who helped me put together this one. It's really a workbook, a lot of questions to answer. People don't realize there's so much to learn, and it increases the chances, that your first fight might come about 3 years married. So it will really be more fun between the two of you.
So we have another question. I've only been married for 2 years, but our sex life is almost non-existent.
I saw that.
What's wrong?
Married only for 2 years and sex life already non-existent. Maybe there are a lot of issues, or I wonder how if they spent 3 years before marriage and they really talk about a lot of things. Because for the woman, when she's angry and there are many things that the husband's not doing, or maybe she's expecting the husband to be a mind reader, which he is not, then she feels sad and then she pulls away from sex. Or if the guy is just so upset also with an annoying behavior of the wife and they cannot talk about it, or he doesn't like to talk about it, and they just pull away. What are your cases, Aiza, about that?
There are also cases wherein couples who engage in premarital sex had a different sexual experience after marriage. So that's also why we are not recommending so much of that, kasi it affects marital sex. Also, communication, a lot of unmet needs, unmet desires, or there's also a factor of other intimacy, other areas of intimacy. So from financial intimacy, intellectual intimacy, emotional intimacy, all those come into play into having great physical intimacy.
Yeah, there are studies that show if the couple also had a lot of premarital sex, had sex before marriage, the tendency is talking, communicating goes down. And therefore they get married and they are surprised. Is this a person I married? I don't know this person. So that's why we say to the couples out there, if you've been having sex, stop it and just make sure you talk and talk a lot. If you talk a lot and really you're the best of friends, your marital sex life will really be great. Guaranteed.
So this one's a nice follow-up question to that. Marriage is what percentage love and what percentage companionship?
Oh,
they go together.
100% love.
Parang the companionship is because of your common interest. So you want to do things together. You have a friend. And the more you do things together and you have fun, the more you will fall in love with that person. Yes. That's why we said we need time to really see if the interests are really common and you enjoy each other's company. You're the best of friends and you are lovers pa. My gosh, that is really such a great experience.
But it sounds like the question's coming from the perspective of maybe it has to be one or the other.
No, cannot be. Has no eyes.
I will check on the definition of love, because if it's romantic love or being in love all the time, we can't be in love the whole time. And that's why we're saying that love is really a decision to care for the other person's well-being, the other person's happiness and joy. And that's why And companionship, you don't necessarily have to be together all the time. It's more on partnership, intimacy, friendship, and then being lovers. So I think the love definition, we have to clarify on where the person asking the question is coming from.
Yeah, it's not naman 24/7, not like a lockdown. The number, if they want a number, can you have fun 15 hours a week? Because many couples later, once they get married, they get busy with their work or the kids, and then they say, because we don't have anything in common. So if you don't have those common interests, you will not want to be together. And then, of course, the love will dwindle also over time. So that's why we say long distance relationship is not good, because you want to really make sure that you can have fun in the presence, physical presence of the other person.
Speaking of the other person, there's always this mindset of, I'm going to change that other person. So what's the real deal? How much can you change the other person? And how much can the other person change if he or she wants to?
How much did you change Randall? And how
I don't know. I cannot change my husband until he wants to change. I'm only here to support and help him towards the better person that he wants to be. We cannot enter marriage hoping that our partner will be better. It has to come from them. And you have to take the package as is where is. If that's what you get for life, then yan na yun. If it improves and evolves into a better version of themselves, then bonus na yun.
Yeah. Well, the person you can change is you. Okay.
You, yes.
Kunyari, you serve more, or you're less nagger, or maybe you have to know what is the need of your spouse and try to meet that need of your spouse. Hopefully, your spouse is also crazy in love with you, will do the same thing. And actually, that's the business there. I will take care of Alan and Alan will take care of me. But I need to make the changes. I cannot change him. That's but when many women think that way. No, you cannot. You cannot change. Cannot change this man. You have to talk to them. If ever you want changes, you have to talk and you have to negotiate with them.
So
but
just
if there's I'll add lang, Raf. If there's behavioral changes that annoy you and you hope that it will stop, you can make requests, or you can say, especially those male female quirks, because they're not used to living with another gender in the house. You can make requests and say, it affects you this way, may I please request blank blank blank. So it may take some time, practice, but if you're trying to change the person's personality or character, that will be very hard if the person doesn't see the need.
That's why the marriage preparation, when we go through the family of origin, and the more time we spend there and find out what are the things you are used to in your family that you usually want to bring into your marriage. But see, your partner also comes from a different family of origin. So there's a need now for a common understanding of what we can bring in, which ones are maybe impossible, or which ones are possible to be done, but over time, not immediately. We normally look for what is familiar to us. And if you have had precisely that real good friendship over time, we usually say over 3 years, it is easier to wait, it's easier to adjust or to give in. All right.
So this just a time check, guys. So we have enough time for about 2 more questions. So that means that, sorry everyone, if you want to learn more about marriage, tune in again next week, Monday at 8 o'clock, so we can continue the other half.
Hi, Cherise. Haven't seen Cherise for a long time.
So this next question is,
what is to Dan, JR, and Carla?
Marriage.
What?
Oh wait, sige, shout out muna to your friends watching.
Okay, Aiza, you want to shout out first?
To our friends, our love team who are watching, I'm seeing JR, Dan, Caballes, Carla Shoho, and all the others who are joining us today. Maybe the next few Mondays, there's 6 of us.
Now we can come out 2 or 3 at a time. Yeah, so that they see there's a whole team that has been trained or being trained to be coaches for marriage preparation, because we all want you to be in a great relationship. Regardless of your background, it's doable, but information is really vital.
Because
Yes.
we believe a healthy marriage will produce healthier Filipino families and it will affect our entire nation.
I really, Esther Perel is one of my favorite international therapists, couple therapists. And she said there was an 8-year study of the Harvard University, and it showed that men, at the end of the day, said that what's really more important, not just their career achievements and all, but relationship. So choosing the right partner will really make a big difference in terms of your level of happiness and your mental health and even the physical health if you're happy with another person.
Mm-mm.
All
So,
right.
so here, we have time for one last question. What is the secret to having a fun and fulfilling marriage that stands the test of time? What's the
Wow.
secret now?
The secret is you married your best friend and you have so many things to talk about. People say you will run out of things to talk about. No, not well. Pops and I, 36 years married this year. Again, it is, we created a common activity. We have our couple support group. It's really talking a lot. And of course, we have our marriage maintenance also every year. So we either go to a counselor or attend a seminar so that we learn more about what is to happen or why did this thing happen and how we can avoid these things from happening. And of course, the if you have your best friend there and continually nurture that, the 15 hours a week really will really help. We had also our weekly couple dates. The kids would cry when we'd go leave them, but it is our duty to give you a great marriage. And of course, we want to have a great marriage because you will all leave us anyway. So it is back to the two of us. So it's our responsibility really to make time and carve out time amidst all this career work of ours.
Correct.
Okay?
I
You,
think
I,
starting on the right foot, starting on properly prepared and properly trained mindset and skill set before entering marriage will help a lot. And then having that good communication in marriage, wonderful communication for you to express each other's needs, express appreciation for each other, help each other grow, and with the style, with the what we call a fighting style or communication style that are productive, not destructive, will
yeah.
be crucial. And yeah, balancing the fun with the must do's of family life.
So productive and not destructive fighting. All right.
Correct.
Yes.
It sounds like for those who are watching, it sounds like marriage is a lot like your career. You have to communicate well. You have to practice well. You have to
Have a
be
vision.
constructive. You need to be headed towards the same direction. And
Yeah.
so if you gotta put time into it. I mean, the saying goes applies here as well. Nothing great. Things that are great don't come easy.
Yep.
So with that, I think we've had a great session tonight, learning a lot of things about how to prepare for marriage. We ran out of time, so next week, catch us again, and we're going to continue discussing this topic. If you have questions that you want to send privately, please message the Love Institute so that they can add your questions to the queue of questions for discussion with different relationship experts. So again, I'll let them sign off, Mom.
Yep. And for those, no, maybe just a reminder for those who are parents already watching, we've started the School for Parents. You can still catch up or you can join the batch number 2. It's an online parenting session, which includes 8 videos and 8 coaching sessions. So, yeah, work on a great relationship. You deserve it. Yep, Aiza?
Yeah. And for those couples who want to love each other better, whether you're thinking of marriage or already married, let us know if you are open to coaching because we can never stop learning and marriage is part of it because in marriage, it's still death do us part. Unlike what Raf said, no, it's like pretty much how we are in corporate, but in our careers, we can retire and resign. But in our marriages, we cannot. So the happier it is, the more blissful the rest of your life will be.